Everybody, thank you for being here today. We have a great show for you. On today's episode, we have Brenda and Scott Ireland with Newcomers of Catawba Valley to discuss their organization. We have a lot of discussion on here from local leaders and business people, but today I thought it'd be a good idea to talk to someone from outside of our Hickory area, at least originally outside of our Hickory area, and kind of give a newcomer's perspective. I would not say I'm necessarily a newcomer, but I did move here from South Jersey in 2005. So I know a little bit about what it's like being a newbie here. So without further delay, let's talk to our guests, Brenda and Scott Ireland. So I'm going to switch the screen up here and let's talk to Brenda and Scott. So Brenda and Scott, thank you so much for being on the show today. And why don't we start by telling us a little bit about yourselves and how you ended up in our area?
Well, we came to visit. I have a friend that moved here probably not too long after you, because there was still the recession was still pretty cutting deep into Hickory. And she decided to retire and get out of, she lived in the neighboring town called Campbell, California.
Okay.
So we waited 4 or 5 years and we finally came across country to visit her. And she'd kept in touch all along, sending pictures of local festivities and the town and her surroundings and different things that she did. And so we could tell she lived in a really neat area. And when we came to stay with her, she took us to the square downtown and took us to the station and to Sim's Barbecue and to Blowing Rock. We did a bunch of stuff to show. And then she drove us all around town to different areas to look at houses and the real estate market, which was crazy when we had started looking at it before we came out to visit.
And
we retired.
How much of a shock was that from California? Price
jaw-dropping.
Houses here than
jaw-dropping. Yeah, it was like seeing the reality of HGTV.
From the San Francisco Bay Area, you could sell a house and you could buy 4 houses here for what you sold yours for.
Yeah.
And you've got half-acre lots, quarter-acre lots, where lots in California were, it was by the square foot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always cracks me up when I do watch some of those shows and they talk about, like, oh yeah, I have a great 10,000 square foot lot. And I'm like, really? Like, but sometimes that's really good.
Our house in California was only on a 7,400 square foot lot, and it was a corner lot.
Wow, that's pretty tough.
We were like the leftover piece, and the blocks are double where we lived in San Jose. So we were the leftover chunk after the 10,000 square foot lots all took their piece, and it's like, oh, this is all that's left. Well, we'll stick a house on it.
Nice. So since you moved here, what have you liked the most about living here?
People and weather. It's kind of a toss up. I love it both.
What about the people?
They're friendly. Everybody greets you. Everybody asks you how you're doing. One of the first outings we took, we went into Lowe's, the one that has it had a little, which one was it on 127? The grocery store. And we went in and Susan was doing some shopping. And so Scott and I walked around, and the lady in the flower department, right when we walked in, greeted us and how you doing? And and then she said, oh, where are you from? Because obviously we don't have an accent. And she said, are you thinking of moving here? I thought, who asks that? Not in California. So people are like that everywhere. How you doing? Can I help you with anything? And if you say you're from someplace else, they immediately, are interested in it. And, usually we just go in, shop and leave. Nobody's talking to you except to take your money.
Yeah.
So I guess one of the things was when you went into the restaurants, it'd be please and thank you. It just the niceties that, we didn't get in the San Francisco Bay Area.
Oh, yeah.
That's interesting. So,
and to-go cups.
Okay. Yeah.
There's no to-go cups in California.
Last time we went to San Francisco for a real estate conference, and they wouldn't even give me a bag for my stuff at the store. They said they wanted to charge me money, and kind of made me feel bad about being okay paying money for it. So, I mean,
Yeah, they started banning plastic bags years ago. Yeah.
If you don't take your own bag
You
with
have to
you,
have
you
your
own
can
bag.
buy a paper
I was just
bag.
carrying a bunch of stuff, so it's kind of weird. But yeah, something I found interesting when I first moved here, being from New Jersey, when you say how you doing, like as a greeting, you really don't expect an answer. And so when I moved here, I'd say, hey, oh, how you doing? And people would actually tell you how they're doing and what's going. And so
Yeah.
yeah, I kind of had to learn a little bit.
Tomatoes aren't growing real good. And
They wouldn't look at you like you were some kind of pervert,
Yeah.
They actually wanted to know how you were doing.
Yeah, that's kind of nice. So that's pretty good. So let's talk about the Newcomers of Catawba Valley. It's kind of why I had you come on today, because I actually sponsor, I'm an advertiser sponsor, I guess, on your page. And you guys have kind of kept
Yes, and we appreciate that.
no problem. And but I thought it was a really good idea. I'm glad that someone came up with the idea a few years ago to put that group together, because sometimes when you move to an area, it is hard to kind of get, you don't really know anybody, and it's kind of hard to make friends sometimes. So I guess tell us a little bit about Newcomers of Catawba Valley and kind of how you got started there.
Well, thanks to our friend Susan that moved here first. That was one of the first things that she told us to do. She said, make sure you join Newcomers when you get here. And we did. We were still in an apartment looking for a house, and we went to a lunch out they would have, and we met there was probably 40 people there, 40, 50 people having a lunch. And I think it was in Morganton. We drove to Morganton, and they pick a restaurant every month, and it's lunch out, and you make arrangements ahead of time that it's okay that X number of people are going to come and that the restaurant can handle it. And so everybody was very friendly. People came over, sat down, talked to us, and said, welcome to the group. And this is my name. And this is, we have this, and this, and, we hope you'll come back. And so we did. And they meet at the airport. They just started back into meeting at the airport. We had a lot of virtual meetings.
Yeah.
But they're trying to get started. They have card games. They play canasta. They have games nights every week. They have bowling. They have a part of the group that does shooting, and just about everything you want to. And some of them have smaller groups that'll play different games, like dominoes, or there's a bridge group. So trying to think, the newcomers of CV.com. You can is that there? Yeah, newcomers of CV.com is the website.
Okay.
And you can go there and you can look at it as a non-member, see all the sponsors, and get an idea of the different outings or organized groups that they have to do just about anything around here. We even do some travel ones where the no, I can't think of the name of the group, but it's the committee that makes all the other outings that go outside of Hickory. We've gone up to see the Billy Graham area. We've gone to the Blue Ridge Parkway, to different places. They do little shopping trips. They'll do a fall colors thing. They try to keep something going for everybody to be involved in.
Okay.
And we've had a wonderful time. All of our newcomers, all of our North Carolina friends are from there.
Okay.
Or have come because we've met people from there.
That's awesome.
So it's been great.
So there are several different things. They do the games at the airport. So at least once a week or every other week, depending on the games you like to play, they'll meet there. Every month they have a general meeting, kind of give the overall status of the group. But then one of the ladies organizes a speaker to come. So sometimes it'll be from the North Carolina Department of Transportation or some other group, and they'll give information give you a status on the widening of 321 or
The walkways.
interest
City walk,
yeah.
things like that.
interests in the area, that they'll have a representative and they'll give a talk for an hour or so. One time it was about the miracle in Hickory, and they say that they've got the museum in Newton and give you some of the other interesting facts about it. And, it's really, it varies by what you want to do. They've got a group that they'll meet for dinners at 4 or 5 people's house. They have a set menu and they will all cook the same food. So you'll have like 6 or 8 people and they share in the cost of it.
Forgot about that. That's a newer group that they started, and it's a cuisine club.
Okay.
Yeah, that's kind of neat. There's probably, they might get as many as 5 or 6 houses of groups of people. There's so many at each house.
How about that?
And
It's really cool.
And they'll also organize at some of the different parks, Hilton Park or something like that. They'll have a potluck barbecue.
Or picnics. Yeah.
They'll rent one of the gazebos and people come and share a meal and get out some games, get out some cornhole, and they'll do things like that.
A couple of lawn games. Yeah, it's been,
Cool.
they try to think of everything so there's something for everybody. And there's about, I want to say 275, 280 members.
Okay. That was going to be my
Yeah.
next question. How many people? So that's pretty good.
Yeah, it is.
And-
It's grown a lot since we've been here. We've probably grown about 25% since we've been here in the last 5 years.
Okay.
And the cost to join is $15 per person for a year.
Okay.
And so that allows you, you get the newsletter, and then you're kept up to date on all the different events, whether it's bridge at somebody's house or canasta and samba and other game nights, other different places. And quite often when you play cards at the airport, there's a small restaurant there that will provide a meal, and it's $6 to $8 or something like that. And so you go in, you have dinner, you play cards, and you're going home.
Makes it
It can
easy.
be at 9 to 10 o'clock at night. So it's a good 3-4 hours of entertainment. You get to see a lot of people that you wouldn't normally see.
Sure. That's really good. What day and time of the week, like what day of the week is it usually, like, or day of the month, and like time frame is it usually, like, for the regular meetings?
The general meetings, I think, are the second Wednesday. And then the board meeting is the 4th Wednesday.
So the general meeting is like 10 o'clock in the morning,
Yeah.
Okay.
and it's usually done, within the 2 hours.
Okay.
So they'll have a speaker, they'll have the quick update on all the different categories, whether it's
Sometimes a member will bring some snacks.
Okay.
that's the important part, snacks.
And that's
And the
usually,
airport provides
that's
coffee
usually at the
and,
airport.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
That's good. We used to have, it was probably like 7 or 8 years ago, but the restaurant, we used to have I belonged to the Chamber of Commerce, and we had a leads group meeting there, and they were always pretty cool there. And, it was a good place to be. So,
Got a
lot
neat
of
little museum.
yeah, that
Yeah.
whole setup over there, a lot of people, I think that's like a hidden gem, I think, of our area that I don't think a lot of people even realize is there. And there's a lot of things
Yeah,
that,
it's pretty special to have an airport.
yeah,
You know,
it's really nice. So,
we don't live that far from it, so
good.
yeah.
Well, that's good. So you said that, you had over 200 members or so. Is that what you
At
said?
275, 280.
275. Okay. So you feel like, is it still continuing to grow over the last few years, or is it?
Yeah, we've still got new members. I did the newsletter for quite a while, and I would, it seemed like the last couple of years, we've continued to have a couple every month. Almost every month, the
Okay.
lady that took in the applications, and it's a simple application process. They can contact somebody on the website, or they might be, depending on what kind of computer system they have, they can probably download the application, or at least contact somebody. I think I emailed somebody the first time, and took an address and mailed them a check, and they sent
Okay.
me back an application.
Cool. So, yeah, so if you want to join, go on the website. What was the website again? I'm going to put it in the show notes to make sure,
Yeah.
but it's
It's spelled out Newcomers of CV. Yeah, newcomersofcv.com.
okay. Super. And I will, I'll make sure I link that in the show notes this way. If anybody needs to, wants to go there, they can. But I thought it'd be a good resource, at least. So if anybody is thinking about moving the area, at least they know that,
Yeah.
the resources are there for them.
It's a great resource to meet a lot of people. Most of the people are retired
Okay.
or in that age group. There's a fairly decent range of that, but I think the majority of people are retired.
Okay.
But people are very active. The group
Yeah.
is very active.
That's good. Anything
And
else?
there is no time limit. If you become a member, it's not like after 2 years, you
Oh.
get kicked out.
There's
Okay.
some,
There are
yeah,
some groups that will do that. This one, you can continue to participate.
yeah. I guess it's a nationwide affiliation.
Okay.
And I guess some of the rules originally were, there was a time frame that you were a newcomer and then you had to move on, but our group doesn't do that because
Okay.
people have been members, and being a newcomer has nothing to do with it.
Okay.
Anybody that wants to join.
Yeah.
And if you enjoy doing things with other people,
Yeah,
and it's the outings, it's the lunch out, it's the men's group, it's the bowling,
yeah.
and there's varied interests. If, like I said,
And if
got-
your interest isn't there, you can suggest it. Maybe there's other people that would like to do it. They always are open to that.
Okay.
There's enough people in the group of people who run it and participate in, it's all volunteers that participate in doing anything, are always open to suggestions. They love it. They welcome new ideas. So it's always, something's always growing and changing.
That's good. Is there anything you wanted to add about newcomers before we moved on to our next segment?
No, join.
All right, cool. Very good.
Join. It's a wonderful group of people,
Good, good.
just like me.
So the last part of the show, we pretty much have this little segment where we kind of ask people questions about the area. And so kind of just wanted to kind of we'll jump right in, and there's no wrong or right answers, but we'll kind of go through, and sometimes it encourages some interesting conversations. So what is your favorite non-chain restaurant in our area?
You know, so-
Well, I know what you're going to say. It's probably the station,
Yeah.
Hickory Station.
Okay.
The the food's good. The selection of beers are good. It's fairly easy access. It's right downtown. So after you're done eating, you can go over to walk there at Union Station or Union Square.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
especially
it's
the city walks right there too. If you want to
Yeah.
walk off your meal a little bit, you can go a little bit. You can walk a
and
little.
if you're lucky, a train will go by while you're sitting out there. The outside, we take our dogs, and they've always got bowls for dogs for water, and they've got cornhole out there. So it's the venue, the menu is varied. So if you like pizza, if you like salads,
The staff is friendly.
so that's probably one of our favorite places
Awesome.
there.
Yeah, it's one of the ones on our list too. That's good.
Like back streets too.
Yeah, Backstreets is really good too. What is your favorite tourist attraction within an hour of Hickory?
The Blue Ridge Parkway.
Okay,
Yeah.
nice.
Price Lake is really pretty. Grandfather Mountain is really awesome. We've actually taken some camping trips off of the parkway in different directions. One south of us there was a designated dark sky area so we could watch the stars. Went to Fancy Gap up in Virginia, just over the border.
Mhm.
That's a nice little campground there. But yeah, just about everything you want to see or do or appreciate as far as nature and the beautiful scenery is on the Blue Ridge Parkway.
That's cool. What's your favorite tourist attraction? More than an hour from Hickory, but still inside the Carolinas.
What do you look at me for?
Biltmore.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
And the whole estate, I like the gardens.
Mm-hmm.
The house is beautiful.
Yeah.
And we've been there. We've seen it decorated for Christmas. When they had the Chihuly sculptures out there in the fountains, that was really neat.
Yeah, Newcomers did a trip up there. There was a whole bunch of us that went up there for that one.
Okay.
We carpooled and enjoyed Chihuly. We take family up there. That's for one of the first things they want to see is Biltmore. So
So the Asheville area
Yeah.
and Biltmore
Yeah.
are
It's a good, Asheville's a good place to visit. So we
well, and then driving south from there, Brevard, we've gone there and camped and gone to the White Squirrel Festival, and
okay.
that was fun. So
All right. So what's the White Squirrel Festival? I don't know that one.
beats the heck out of me. We just thought it was a funny thing to have a festival for.
well up there in the Brevard area and up, that area, they've got the white squirrels.
Okay.
We actually saw one and took a video of one running around in a yard. I had never seen a white squirrel.
Interesting.
So you've got, the regular brown squirrels, you've got black squirrels. In that area, they happen to have the white squirrels.
Okay.
And
That's
so
pretty
we
cool.
were there 2 years ago, almost got rained out, but
Oh my gosh, the French Broad River went over its banks.
Oh, wow.
And there was a flood on 70 that happened right after we got home, and they had closed the highway. And if we would have left an hour later, we would have been in the middle of the closure. So, but it poured that weekend. It had one beautiful day of weather, and then it started raining cats and dogs. And it's not fun taking down a trailer in the pouring down rain.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah,
All
but it
right.
was an adventure.
So what is your favorite thing to do in our area that does not involve eating? Because I find whenever I tell people about stuff here, it's always what restaurant to go to. But
Yeah.
so taking that out of the equation, what's your favorite thing to do around town?
There's quite a few little consignment and antique kind of places that are fun to go to. The walkways, Geithner Park and Hilton Park. We live right between the two.
Mhm.
And both of those are really nice places to go for walks with your dogs. The River Walk and the City Walk are both going to enhance, and all the other walks, there's 4 or 5 of them, are
Yeah.
going to enhance all of those pretty quickly here. I know they're tearing up Geithner by us, and
Yeah,
we've been watching that
I
progress.
think they're hoping the city walk will be done by the end of this calendar year, I believe. I think that's
I hope
what they're
so.
shooting for. And
Waiting for
then-
them to finish that piece over the water there.
Yeah, and
seems
then
to be-
then the river walk there, I think that'll be maybe a little bit after, but yeah, it's really exciting. I think it's gonna be really nice, and I think it's gonna look really cool when they have that the boardwalk like showing kind of into the water. I think it'll be
Yeah.
cool when you come over the bridge, you'll be able to see that. I think it'll be really cool. So
Yeah, I agree.
uh,
I agree.
but no, it's
so
really
as far as the activities, I thought she was going to say that it was the hiking group that she belongs to every Monday. There's a
Okay.
group of women that they go out, they schedule hikes, whether it's in Maiden, they just went to Lake James on Monday. And so
Ponteflora.
Ponteflora Trail is what they were looking for.
Huh.
And so there's, so many different areas within an hour,
Yeah,
they'll
or
drive
less.
to all these places, do a 3-4 mile hike. And you said not supposed to involve food, but generally it involves lunch afterwards.
Yeah, well, that's okay.
We always go to lunch, but there's just hundreds of walks. There's waterfalls, and it's, in an hour or less drive. And it's nice. It gets you out into nature and enjoying how many beautiful places there are around here, no matter what time of year it is. We just
Yeah.
go a little higher when it gets hotter.
Yeah, that's for sure.
And she said the waterfalls, that is probably one of the most interesting things in the area. Within an hour, hour and a half, you can be at so many different waterfalls towards Asheville
Mhm.
and Black Mountain and up in that area. And you've got Dry Falls, and it's, one of the second highest waterfall in North Carolina.
I don't know.
something
I
like
forgot
that.
about
It's
that.
you can walk under it. It's a beautiful, and it's easy to get to.
Yeah, it's right
So
off the
if
road.
even for, as Brenda said, a lot of the members of Newcomers are retired, so you don't get around as well as you did, years ago. But the paths are easy. It's a short walk from the parking area down into the waterfalls.
You walk right behind it.
And it
It's
seems
pretty
like,
cool.
a lot of the attractions here are set up for people where your mobility isn't that great, that you can get around and you can enjoy it.
That's cool. We'll go. I'll have to check that one out because I have not been there. So I'll have to check out what was the falls that you were saying again? What
It's
was the
called
last
Dry
one?
Falls.
Dry
That was the one
Falls.
that blew me away because you could walk right behind it.
Okay.
And it was
Alright.
flowing. There had been a lot of rain. It was flowing pretty heavy when we saw it that day. The water was a little dirty,
Okay.
but
Even though they call it
still-
Dry Falls, it's not
it's
dry.
far from dry. I don't know why it got that name.
That's funny. So is there something about our area that you wished more people knew about?
No, I don't want to share it.
All right, fair enough.
No, I keep telling all of our people that are stuck in California how wonderful it is and sending them pictures. And it's like, yeah, we still got to work.
Something I like is that when people complain about traffic, sometimes I always get a little bit of a chuckle because I used to have to commute through Philadelphia and from New Jersey through Philadelphia to the other side. And, that was traffic, but this is not, traffic. I will say around Christmas time, right around the mall area can be a little dicey or whatever, but it's still not anything compared to other parts of the country. So when people complain about traffic, I always think it's kind of funny. So
I've sent pictures of 321 at 3:30, which is like the worst traffic in Hickory, I think.
So they're second and 321 where McDonald's is.
Mhm.
We had to sit through 3 red lights.
Oh my goodness,
Oh my gosh.
that's terrible.
And so one of the things that we do enjoy is the lack of traffic. Going to Charlotte just drives me crazy because of the traffic.
Yeah,
It reminds me too much of the Bay Area.
Yeah.
And the rest of it here on 40 at commute time is not bad. It slows down, but it keeps on moving.
Yeah, it's not a parking lot.
And it's just it's a nice place to go. Everything is so green. That is
Yeah.
probably one of the things that I really like is all the woods and how green and luscious everything is. The state does a great job of keeping the roads picked up and mowed,
Yeah.
and people, mow their lawns out to the highway, and you don't have 10 dead cars sitting in front of the house. So that's probably the pride that people take in their properties here.
okay, nice.
It doesn't have to be a showcase. It doesn't have to be a Biltmore, but
Mhm.
people keep their yards
Yeah, generally.
picked up and
yeah.
mowed. And that's probably one of the best things is that, it shows a lot of pride in the area.
Yeah, that's great. Well, before we wrap up, I usually ask one final question, and that's if you have any questions for me, since I'm in real estate, sometimes people have some questions about the market or whatever. So just open it up if you had any questions for me.
Is it it's doing so good that there's hardly anything to find?
That is the problem.
Yeah, we have some friends looking and they finally settled on something, but they just were frustrated that everything they looked at, it was gone in 30 seconds. And
Yeah,
I
I
know
mean-
here in our neighborhood, everything's gone.
Yeah,
Indeed.
even like 3 years ago, I mean, if somebody was looking in our area, one of our agents could set them up on a search and, they probably would have 5 or 6 houses that they would want to see. And if they didn't like one of those, then something else would maybe come on the market and they could go and look at it. And now it's pretty much like, all right, well, there might be 1 or 2 things that match your criteria. And by the time you schedule the showing, they're already gone. And so then you have to really like pinpoint,
Yeah.
all right, this is where I want to be and be ready to pounce as soon as it comes on the market. And
Yeah, you
it's
almost
just
need an
it's a
inside
different
track.
environment. Yeah. So that's definitely been tricky. It's been really good to be a seller. I think, for the people that are looking to sell or, either upsize or downsize or whatever, as long as they can find somewhere else to go, it's a really good time. But if you're going to sell and you don't have anywhere to go, then, that's kind of locked up the market a little bit, even because, there are people that want to move and want to either buy something bigger or smaller, but they feel like they want to sell their house first. And that's kind of locked the market up a little bit. But
we feel really blessed that we found the one that we found when we got here. So
sure.
We didn't, we had looked at a lot online, and then by the time we'd get here or talk to the real estate agent or send her the list, she'd go up, those are gone, those are gone, those are, not in the market. They'd either take it off the market, or something that had been on the market for months or a year, someone had finally bought it.
Yeah.
And we were still waiting to sell our house. So there was no contingencies. Nobody wanted to take those, and I don't blame them. So as soon as we sold it, we were out the door while the escrow email was coming to us.
Okay.
So in general, here in the Hickory area, as things have been selling quite rapidly, are they people within the area just upgrading their homes, or are there people from outside the area moving in?
It's a combination. I think for the longest time, when I first started in the business, I felt like most of the activity was from people from outside of the area. That's why I asked if your numbers have gone up or down or not, because I do feel like there are people coming here, but I also feel like there's a lot of people that maybe had been waiting to either move up or maybe downsize over the last few years. I feel like there's been a lot of people who, like I said, had a house that they wanted to buy, so they decide to buy, and then they sell their house here to either like upgrade or maybe downsize a little bit. And so there's been a lot more people that are from here, or at least not from here, but live here now, either upgrading or downgrading, kind of a thing. We've seen a lot more of that than we had in the past. But there are still a lot of people coming in from outside of our area.
Probably get an opportunity now to do what they want to do, as long as what they want to buy is still available when they sell what they.
And that's been the tricky part, and that's where it's like really important to have, make sure that that they have a good agent that's kind of helping them able to jump on it and putting them in a position. Because some people, the hardest thing is if you're contingent on selling your house in order to buy something, it makes it really hard, because if you're competing with 3 other offers, they're not going to want one that's contingent. So you pretty much need to make sure that you can buy something without selling your house first. And there's some loan products out there that can help people now that didn't exist before too. So I think it's important to make sure everybody has all the tools they need before they get started, so they can do something to buy. And then when it's time to sell, that's probably most of the time, that's the least of people's worries, is selling it at this point, because as long as it's fairly move-in ready condition and priced appropriately, it's just going to go immediately. And so that's kind of
gotta hope that what you sell yours for, you can buy the next one for.
Yep. That's
balance.
Yeah, as long as there's not too much of a difference, I guess, in the time frame. I was joking with someone. They were like, "Yeah, I'm gonna rent for 6 months or whatever," and I'm like, "Yeah, but the market might increase, 10% in that time period, while you're waiting." So, but it's all balanced. And again, I think it's just important to make sure you have a good agent, have a good lender, and make sure that they know what your plans are, so that they can kind of guide you to get you what you want. And I think that's the most important thing.
It's one of the things I was kind of curious about when we first moved here in 2016. Areas like Gastonia seemed to be, or Charlotte really encroached in on Gastonia, and Gastonia seems to be growing. So is the Charlotte area encroaching or moving up 321 and 77? Is Lincolnton going to be absorbed, and Denver all going to be absorbed into that, and Mooresville up to Statesville? Or is that, is Charlotte going to be so big that Hickory and Lincolnton, towns like that, Maiden, that will actually become suburbs of Charlotte?
I think it's probably headed that direction. The nice thing is that a lot of the infrastructure on our part of the state, like west of Charlotte, I think is laid out pretty well. Where you have a road like 321, and how 85 is set up and everything. Where and six, especially with the advent of 16 getting expanded to 4 lanes all the way up to Conover. We've got some really good ways of getting to Charlotte, where it's faster to get to Charlotte from parts of Catawba County than it is to get to Charlotte from parts of Mecklenburg County now. So I think that's going to lend itself to maybe us becoming a little bit more of a bedroom community to Charlotte than maybe we had been in the past. But yeah, because they can't go any further east. They can't really go any further north because of Lake Norman. So I think it's only going to kind of head, more west, I think is probably the way it's going to go. And, Charlotte's growing. It's, one of the fastest growing cities in the country.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's probably going to keep growing. And, I think, we just have to kind of embrace it and, and hope that the infrastructure, that's laid out, allows us to kind of, get around without having too many bottlenecks, put it that way.
I know with us being on 40, that gives us access to, California or Pacific
Yeah,
Ocean or the Atlantic Ocean.
Yeah, it goes clear across the United States.
And
That's what
so
we drove here
you
on.
could be in Nashville in 6 hours. And just in general, the area, really has a lot of advantages. Being an hour away from the Charlotte airport,
Yeah, it's not bad.
we're far enough away that we don't have to listen to it. Where we lived in San Jose, we were close to the San Jose airport and planes every 2 minutes flying over.
But it was nice when you wanted to fly because it was only 20 minutes away.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. When we lived in South Jersey, we were that far away from the Philly airport. And we used to hear them and see them a lot. But when you did have to travel, it was nice not being that far. But here again, like you hop on 321 to 85 and you're right there. I mean, it's really, or, you can take 16, as well and get there pretty quickly. So, I have no complaints and, that the airport's growing too, but I feel like it's being planned out well. You can get it in and out of your car pretty easily, pretty quickly.
Yeah, even trying to pick up people now with all the construction going on it.
Yeah.
My daughter came in a couple of weeks ago and it was easy just to pick her up and drop her off, even though the construction was everywhere.
It's true.
Well, we like Hickory. We have no intention of going back to California. Not that we can't afford it, but we can't afford it.
Yeah.
We can't buy back into that market.
I wouldn't want to.
Yeah.
But here it has all the advantages that we've really wanted.
Yeah.
There's not a lot that we miss from California.
Yeah.
We can afford to go back to California because we live here. As far
To
as
visit.
Yeah.
As far as
That's true.
traveling, we can afford to travel thanks to living here. And
That's cool. Well, I really appreciate you guys being on today. I think it was helpful. If anybody's either recently moved here or thinking about moving here, I think you gave them a lot of information on kind of what it'll be like. And it's really nice to have an organization like Newcomers of Catawba Valley that people know they can kind of lean on a little bit and make some friends and really get to know the area. So I appreciate you guys being on today. And like I said, I'll leave your contact information in our show notes for the organization. And thanks again for being on the show. I really appreciate it.
thanks, Mike. We appreciate it too.
You're welcome.
Thanks.